Hello and welcome to EBC Learning Studio. Today we have with us Amrish Garg, partner at Finvox Analytics. Welcome Amrish to EBC Learning.
Thank you.
At the very outset, would like to start this conversation from the beginning, from your educational background. As I was researching about you, I found out that you did your graduation from Delhi University. So, which year was it, and how did you decide to choose your graduation in commerce and further on ended up studying chartered accountancy? So, how did it all transpired after your high school education?
Sure. Great. So first of all, thanks to EBC for inviting us and to share my experience that how I landed up in Shriram College of Commerce, which is one of the top commerce college in Asia. So basically, since my childhood, when I was that small, I was clear that I'm going to become a chartered accountant because my father is tax consultant. So it's from beginning, it's clear that I'll pursue my career in CA. But at that point of time, the vision was that I'll do CA from. So I belong to a place which is called Hanmangad in Rajasthan. And so the thought process at that point of time was that I'll go to Chandigarh, I'll do my BCom from SD College there, I'll do my C and I'll come back to Hanmangad and do my practice with my father. This was the thought process when I was small. But my mother and my father, they both wanted me that since I'm going to pursue commerce, I should go to Shriram College of Commerce. So that was their dream, their vision. And until I would say the early phase of my class 12, I was not that committed for Shriram College. And I was like, I'm happy with doing with SD College in Chandigarh because ultimately I just need to be a CA. And at that point of time, being a CA means that even if we clear exam in first attempt, that would be a great thing for being a CA. So therefore, the thought process was limited to that part. Then suddenly some few things happened in life, and I would like to share two moments which happened with me. One was that I was sitting in front of my principal's room in class 12, and I saw the list of the toppers in the front, and I just thought that I want my name to be there. So that was one point which was almost in middle of class 12. And then I was traveling from Chandigarh to Hanmangad for something, and in train I met someone, and that person was also from a graduation background, and he asked me that what you like to pursue after your 12th, and I just simply told him that I want to go to Shriram College of Commerce, and he just told me immediately like it is not everyone's cup of tea. So those two things really strike me, and then then that was my mission at that point of time to really get admission in Shriram College. And with God grace, with my effort, with my blessings of my parents and my sister, everyone, I got admission in Shriram College in 2002, and I passed out from there in 2005. And I would say the professional growth or the turn in my professional career, it really came when I went to Shriram College of Commerce, because the kind of exposure which I got in that college, because when we entered in that college, we thought that like we are the topper of our school, but there we saw everyone being a topper. And as I told you, initially being a CA was that we should clear the CA in first attempt. That was the target. But when I gave foundation, and everyone asked that what's the rank, so that was a point I came to know that okay, within CA there's something called rank, and people really aspire that thing. And that gave me motivation that now in the second stage of CA, I should target for rank. And that was the point that in second stage, I got 27th rank all over India. And then as I moved forward in my career, I found that, okay, there's something called single digit also in CA rank. And then I target for this, and with God grace, I got sixth rank. So this is how my academic journey in CA or in the commerce field follow. And this is what I would like to say. And therefore, I always like to the student who are pursuing commerce field, I always push them that they should target to go for in the best college of commerce. And because the main grooming as a student happens when you land up in a good college, because
Right.
there you really get a lot of exposure, and then you can design your career from there. So this is my saying to advice to any student.
So after your graduation and of course your sixth rank in the exams of CA at the end, you pursued some other professional qualifications. What motivated you to do that? and tell us more about that.
Sure. So after my CA, I did CFA from US. So this is one of the, I would say, a quite renowned course in the field of finance. And so during my articleship, I got chance to work directly in the field of finance. So generally, CA student, they do articleship in field of tax audit. But I was fortunate enough that I got opportunity to start my career directly in the field of finance. So therefore, when I completed my articleship, I became CA. I was looking for some course within the field of finance, which is an international course and can add value to me, and which is internationally recognized. So therefore, I found CFA as one of the good course with curriculum, and I pursued. And there are three stages again in CFA. I cleared all the stages in first attempt, and that CFA degree really helped me when we went to in the US market for work, for association. So there people really respect that, okay, I am a CFA and I have that degree from US. So that really helped me to establish myself and the firm in those markets. So therefore, I always believe that a person should try to get as many as degree during their academic period, because those degree will either directly or indirectly going to help you in your long term professional career. So therefore, it's good that I did CFA, and I always wanted to do MBA. But the circumstances happened that I could not do a full time MBA. So I pursued different small courses by IIM Bangalore, IIM Calcutta, ISB. So I did some small management courses from those colleges, so that I could get wider perspective. Because the best part of all those MBA institute is that once you go there, the kind of exposure you get, the ability to think out of the box, all those things we basically get. So therefore, during my professional career, I would say initial 5 to 6 years of my career, after every 1 year, I used to go to for such kind of small courses, so that I could remain attached with theoretical concepts and practical things which we could learn from such kind of institute, and then again implement in my career. So this is something.
So I want to bring back to your chartered accountancy days while you were preparing for it after your graduation. So how did you get introduced to law per se? Of course, some of the papers of law that you have to do, but that combination excite you, commerce with law or finance and law. How did you took it? Was it too boring for you, or you enjoyed it? Your initiation to law as a field.
Yeah. So I would say I enjoyed it, because being a CA, it's very important that we should be able to understand and interpret law. Like income tax is all about law. Then we have all the different kind of laws in terms of company law, SEBI, and everything. So therefore, I would say as a student, I definitely liked law as a subject, and really pursued it a lot. As a professional, even being a valuer, there's a lot of law which we need to interpret and then give our opinion and judgment on the same. So therefore, law is something which, as a profession, I think we need to have, and it's important that we should able to understand the crux of that particular section and provision, what's the intent and how we can implement it. Because understanding a section and implementation of the second part, or implementation of the section, is the something where professional judgment comes. Because a same section could have multiple interpretation and multiple application. Then how one can apply it is something which one can do in a better way if that person has an interest in that thing. Otherwise, it's more like, okay, someone has told this thing, you'll do only that part. So therefore, law as a subject, law as a concept, I would say this, I like it, and therefore have integrated in my professional career.
So, Amrish, tell us about your professional journey after completing your CA, and now you are a partner at Finvox Analytics, your own firm with Gandhar. Tell us your professional journey after your CA till the point you started to establish your own firm.
Sure. So basically, I started my journey, my professional career in the field of finance itself. As I mentioned earlier, like I got opportunity to do my articleship in the field of finance. So I was with a firm called SS Kothari Mehta and Company in their corporate finance division. And I was fortunate enough that in the initial phase of my career, I got opportunity to go to and meet large private equity fund. And I still remember, like, when I became CA in 2017, just after my result was out, there was a one transaction where we were helping a company, and rather we got funding for JW Marriott here in at AeroCity. So therefore, that deal was there, and my partner Vikram Mehta, he told me that, okay, go to Bombay and present this deal to the investor. So I was alone, like just a fresh CA, alone, sitting in front of so many investors, explaining the deal to them. So that was a moment which gave me a lot of confidence that, okay, I could do that thing. Like, generally, once you become a CA, that kind of exposure, I think that was the main stepping stone for me, and really gave me a lot of confidence. So I was with SS Kothari Mehta and Company up to 2013. So I spent 8 years with them from 2005 to 2013. And then somewhere, because coming from a family where my father and both father and mother, they both were tax consultants. So that entrepreneurial thing was in my blood. And therefore that entrepreneurial bug was there. And in 2013, it was really coming out, like, I should do something my own. I should do something my own. So from SS Kothari, I just, for a small period, I moved to BMR advisor. Just wanted to try more things at a different level. So I joined them in the M&A in the M&A cross-border team, where they were mainly focusing on cross-border M&As. So I spent some time with them, but I realized that I need to do something different, something niche, and which, being a like finance professional in the field of finance only, but something different. So at the time, again, universe met Gandharv, like I and Gandharv, we both met and we discussed about different ideas. He also come from corporate finance background. So we were exploring different things. In 2015, we went to US to understand the market there, what kind of services are there, what are the niche things. And then we realized that valuation is something which in India at that point of time was being offered only by the large CA firms or big four as part of their one of the services. There was no valuation focused firm just giving valuation as a service. So therefore we decided that, okay, we should, if we want to create something niche, then valuation is a field where we can create our niche, and there are no independent valuation firms in India at that point of time. So with this concept, we started Finvox Analytics, and then at that point of time, we also got opportunity to work with various tech entrepreneurs, because startup ecosystem was just emerging in that phase of 2014-15. And we got opportunity to work with some of the tech entrepreneurs who were looking to raise funds. And then we realized that at that point of time, there were not much investment bankers helping them in raising funds. The founders coming from IIT, IIM background, they were able to raise fund because of their network within IIT and IIM. But there were other good tech entrepreneurs who have good business idea, but they were not able to become an investor ready, I would say, like how to present the idea to investor, how to prepare their business plan, investor pitch, everything. So we helped them in that process. So initially 2 years we were doing both the fundraising part and the valuation part, but slowly we found that valuation is more niche for us, and then we just focusing more on the valuation part. And right now, if you say, like, very recently, Finvox being recognized as top 10 valuation firm in Asia, and we were able to establish ourselves in the US market, Singapore, India. So therefore, today, as a co-founder and partner of Finvox Analytics, we really feel quite proud that we were able to create that niche. Today, when we talk to clients and showcase our knowledge to them, they really appreciate that part, and we could deliver that specialized services to them. So, like, we have seen in the field of medicine, like, there are super specialization. Earlier, there was a concept of MBBS, then the concept of MD came, then the concept of DM, super specialized doctor came. So same in the field of finance. I think being a CA earlier, the CA used to do everything, correct, whether it's audit, tax, law. Correct. Now is a time where one has to be super specialized, and therefore, when we, as a CA, do service in the field of valuation, we can provide that specialized, super specialized services to our clients and really able to add value to them. So in this professional journey, I would say The one, the ability to find a niche area that really help us, and then a thought process that we need to provide us super specialized services really helped us to grow and reach at that level.
Right. We'll come to more about Finvox Analytics, but in between, I was just had this random thought. I heard about valuations first by a UK-based program called Dragon's Den, and now we have, of course, there's Shark Tank in US and Shark Tank in India. Do you think the clientele has changed because of such exposure to something called the valuation? Also, for fundraising, when you're preparing your clients for the pitch for fundraising, has it changed because of these pop culture influences when you interact with your clients? Has that changed? And another supplementary question to that would be how realistic it is what people see on the screen. So if you can explain that your experience with your clients in the post Shark Tank world,
Yeah.
And for the audience, because you're an expert in valuation, that how those valuations work. So a little bit more on your subject as well as the show.
Sure, definitely. Yeah, great. So I think it's a great question, and we also came such kind of came across such kind of discussion when we interact with people, because valuation of startup and how the entrepreneurs are pitching the idea in Shark Tank is something, it's quite great, and because it become a common word, I would say, in a common family now. So so therefore it's a very interesting thing. So to answer your first question, that about valuation, how overall the requirement of valuation increased, definitely such kind of things which is happening where common people are now aware that one can go and pitch their business idea, they can command, ask for certain value. The understanding of valuation has definitely come up. But I would say for us as a professional, the major thing happened because of change in regulations. In 2017, a law came where a concept of registered valuer was being introduced in India, and therefore there's certain valuation which has to be done by registered valuer. So that was a time which gave us opportunity that okay, now we can see ourselves different from other professionals.
Right. So the Companies Act as well, Section 247,
Yes.
requires registered valuers.
So that is one event which happened. Second event happened, the introduction of international financial reporting standards, like Indian accounting standard. They converge with the standards, international financial reporting standard, and lot of requirement of valuation came from those accounting standards, because now everything in the balance sheet need to be fair valued. That is the another thing which happened. So therefore, uh, earlier valuation was more like a transaction based. Like if any transaction is happening, as you told, if there's any fundraising, if there is any M&A, then the valuation was required. But because of introduction of IFRS and increasing scope of valuation, now valuation is required on an annual basis rather than a transaction base. So it's more like a profession with a recurring fee, and therefore the scope has increased a lot. So therefore, I would say from a scope perspective, the change in regulation helped us. But from a education understanding perspective, the programs like Shark Tank really help us to really explain what we are doing. Because earlier when we used to say we are valuers, the people used to see hoega kuch. It's something like that. But now they can see, okay, they could have a very interesting conversation with us. Okay, how a startup is being valued, how why they command such kind of value, why Zomato, even after increasing losses, be $1 billion company. So all those things has really come up now, and our profession, or we as a valuer, is being seen as a common people rather than aliens. So
Right.
so this is a change I think has come up because of events and programs like Shark Tank.
Right. Tell us more about Finvox Analytics. What kind of work you do apart from valuation and raising funds, which you touched upon? What sort of clients do you have at present, or the kind of clients you have served? How is the journey? How is the organization?
Sure. So as I told you, like from the beginning, we want to create it something niche, and therefore with the concept of this valuation, we started Finvox Analytics. And since both Gandharv and we came from a corporate finance background, and then we have a very good team members in form of Paras and other other good team members at that point of time. They all are inclined towards corporate finance. So I always believe that in an organization, if the thoughts are aligned, then it's always easy to grow it. So from very beginning, we were aligned that, okay, we want to do this thing and we do not want to do that thing. So like from the very beginning, we are clear that we do not want to do any audit tax work. So we could really filter the requirement of our clients that, okay, we are just focusing on their corporate finance needs. So with this thing, we really added clients across geographies, not only in India. As I told you, we went in the US, we explored that US market. We were able to get good tie-ups with the local valuation firms there. Over the period, we really grew our relationship with them. So we are working very closely with US-based firms. We are working in the Singapore. Very recently, we are also planning to set up our own company in Singapore to cater to the Singapore market because we saw a very good opportunity for valuation in the Singapore market. Within India, being a registered valuer and registered valuer entity, we are serving clients across stages, across industries. So we are working with many listed clients. They need valuation for their financial reporting purpose. They need valuation for any M&A activity they have. We are working with large business houses, helping them in their family settlement, because right now we see a lot of opportunity within the family settlement, because what happened in India now with the second and third generation coming in, there are many business houses which were traditionally run by the, I would
Family
say,
patriarch.
family patriarch, and there. So I'll give you example here. Like we are working with a business house right now. They are in Rajasthan at a good place. So they were explaining like the generation of father who had now become a grandfather, I would say. They started the business. They did not have opportunity to go out from that location. So they did the business there. Then when their son they clear from the school, they joined the business. They also did not get opportunity to go out much. So they, like, from Rajasthan, they just came to Delhi for education and again go back to Rajasthan for their business. But now with the third generation coming in, they got opportunity to go out abroad, study. So when they are coming in the business, they're coming with a different mindset. So now with three generations and three different brothers or four different brother families working, it's difficult for them to work together. So it's important that amicably they split the business among different divisions, and therefore they allow the young generation to really work the way they want to be, because they came in that business with a lot of exposure. So now we see a lot of such kind of opportunities happening, where such kind of large businesses, they want to have a family settlement, divide the business, and there the importance of valuer is a lot. So therefore, being uh, uh, valuer with the experience, we're helping them in the family settlement matters, and really advising them why certain values are important, how we value them, because with such kind of clients we really need to educate to them that how we have arrived to a certain number, why it makes sense for them. So we are doing a lot of family settlement valuations, and we are working with a lot of startups, as you mentioned earlier. Like after Shark Tank, many entrepreneurs are also coming to us that, okay, now they need to pitch to the investors how they can create their story. Because see, valuation, I always believe, and I this statement from Professor Damodran, he always says that valuation is a bridge between good number and good story. So valuations, there's nothing wrong and right in valuation. So we can't say that the number we have arrived is the only number and this is the only correct number. So for any startup, even if they are incurring losses, why they're commanding so much value? Because they have a story behind it. And there's a founder's vision which is behind this. So I always tell to a founder that when they are pitching to investor, they should not pitch about their product, they should pitch about their vision. If they are able to pitch and convince that what's their vision and how big is the vision, they will able to get the good value. So therefore valuation is function of other things rather than pure numbers. And so we work with a lot of startup companies on the valuation front. So this is, I would say, a broad gambit of our clientele. Other than valuation, we are doing due diligence stuff where we are helping in investors doing. So whenever they're putting money, we're helping them with due diligence stuff. But our services are around finance field only, and this is where we would like to be rather than focusing on other stuff.
Right. Let's move on to the next chapter of the interview where we talk about upskilling in education. Although you mentioned very briefly that over a period of time you have done various courses at various Institute of Managements of India. So for our viewers and students who are watching this interview, we want to know that how important it is for someone to upskill themselves and constantly keep reading and increase their knowledge all the time.
Sure. So I would here like to share that as a human being, it's very important for us that we should learn every day. Like we can't stop our learning. Every moment we should learn, then only we can grow. So learning could come from our practical experience and from our theory. If we just focus on the practical aspect, then sometimes we are not able to create a strong base. So therefore, if we need to have a learning with a very strong base, it's important to go back, understand the theoretical aspect, because there's so many learned professors who have, after doing so much research, they have written their books, create certain theses. So it's important to understand that what's the theory there, understand that theory, then apply it practically. So I always believe that in a professional journey, it's important to go back to the basic, go back to the books, understand it, learn from it, and then come back and implement into our professional journey. And this is something I think most of the professional bodies are also implementing. Like being a CA, there are few hours of training we have to do. Being a registered valuer, again, we have to comply with certain hours of training and learning. So therefore, for everyone, it's very important to keep this learning process going on, and they need to identify the places. And it's not only about doing learning, the technical learning. Sometimes it's important to learn about other soft skills about life. So if I personally talk about myself, I, along with the technical learning, go for a lot of spiritual and other kind of learnings also. I got a lot for yoga meditation kind of retreats where I could learn about that how, or I would say learn about the art of living. So it's not about learning only the technical aspect, it's learning different aspects of your life, understand that how this universe works, understand how this nature works, how as a professional we can add value not to ourselves but to the society as a whole. So so therefore as a human being, very important to keep learning every moment of our life, and then also implement it and make other people to learn.
Right.
So it's not only just to gather knowledge and keep ourselves, it's also important to gather the knowledge and spread that knowledge.
Right. So on that note, I wanted to ask what motivates you to teach? Because you, as an expert instructor at the EBC Learning CIA Upskill Diploma in Advanced Corporate Law, so what motivated you to join the teaching roster amongst a lot of other partners of various law firms?
Sure. So here I would like to share that I follow one theme or purpose, which is like to grow and to contribute. So this is the theme which I have adopted. So therefore, we are getting a very good growth professionally. We need some area where we could contribute. And through this teaching, we found that part that now we can contribute back to the society. Like whatever things we have learned, if we come to a platform, and especially the platform like EBC Learning, where there's so many students and they have a EBC Learning has such a great platform to reach out to so many people there out there. So therefore, I thought that like this is something where we could go share our knowledge with students and candidate participants who are there, and that motivate me to come to this platform and to give my best and share my best knowledge with them, so that they also learn from our experience. So this is, I would say, one of the main motivating factor to remain associated with teaching as a profession, which is such a, I would say, a noble profession. And this is on a contribution part, but there's always, I would say, a hidden agenda and also a professional agenda here. What I have realized is that when we, as a professor, as a lecturer, as a guest speaker, teach something that really make our concept very clear, and that help us to explain our concept to authorities. Like when we do valuation, there are different situation events where we need to go and present our thesis or our work to any regulatory authority or any officer. It could be assessing officer from income tax department. So since we are now explaining things to so many candidates, so many students who do not come from valuation background, and we have to really go back to basic and teach them, that really help us in our professional career to explain things to assessing officer who also are not from professional or valuation background. So we can really go back to basic and then teach them, okay, this is how we have done and why we have done.
Correct.
And we can really explain the theory to them, because we are teaching that theory to our student through this platform.
Right.
So therefore, these are the main motives, I would say, which motivate us to come and share experience and being part of this noble profession of teaching.
Right. So now there are two aspects of teaching and learning. One is theory and practice. And there's always been not sort of a conflict, but there has always been some one-upmanship between both the style of gaining education. So we at EBC Learning is trying to bring the holistic education experience, where we try to keep the teaching through our video modules, and want our experts to come and talk about their practice. So one interesting thing that I figured, that because you are into practice, so you tend to move more towards theory when you go and learn, do different certificate courses at different management schools, because you want to be closer to the theory. So practitioners always want to be closer to the theory. But for our students who has always been closer to the theory and little away from the practice. So how in your class on valuation and other classes, for example, we are going to do a mock Shark Tank session that you have curated. So how you have decided that how you're going to bring our students closer to practice through your sessions?
Definitely. So as you have really laid on a very important aspect, is that uh, there should be a very good bridge between theory and practical. Like if we just do theoretical things and we don't implement practically, then there's no point learning that theory. And the same thing, like without learning theory, we can't do practical things. Like in valuation itself, I always tell my team members is that valuation is like somewhere we need to achieve certain objective. It's not that it's a clear science, 1 plus 1 is equal to 2. Valuation is not that clear science. Valuation has a lot of art to it. And therefore, if we need to play with the numbers, it's important to understand from where the theory is coming. And the same thing we try to implement in our classes, where we want to keep the classes more case study driven rather than purely a theory driven. So what we generally do is that once we cover a theoretical aspect, we like to share our practical experience of doing a valuation of similar kind of nature. And we explain them then when we practically do it, what kind of challenges we encounter, how we overcome those challenges, what are the different views one can take from those interpretations of numbers. So therefore, it's important that with theory, we basically merge our practical experience and good part. And this is what the feedback I have got whenever we have delivered lecture at different platforms. So for example, we also quite often deliver lecture with ICA RVO as part of their curriculum. So wherever we have given lecture, the one feedback which we have received is that we are able to connect with the audience because we able to talk practical things with them. We can talk the things which are quite near to their common day-to-day life.
Right.
So this is the best part, and therefore this I think is a unique in our classes, where we can really help the student to understand the practical aspect of any theoretical thing and how they can actually implement in their daily life. And once they, after learning specific thing, go back to their professional things, they can really implement. Because this is one thing, like when we were doing our education, we found at that point of time there was a lot of gap between theory and what actually we were doing in our offices.
Correct.
And now, in the today's environment, especially initiatives like which ABC Learning has been taking like doing videos and everything. Now a student has an opportunity that they can learn about the practical aspects along with their curriculum. And then when they really land into a corporate world, they will not feel like what we have studied and what we are doing now. They can really bridge that gap by looking at all the videos or initiatives which EBC Learning are taking, and they can see, okay, what they have learned and what they are going to implement through this video. They can learn and then feel comfortable when they do any corporate related job.
Right. Also, as part of our classes, we are doing workshop based classes. So it's also not like just learning about it, but doing by, themselves.
Sure.
So, how do you think as a role, because traditionally, wherever, you have courses, so generally you go and you have to deliver. So we're working on a model where it's a workshop class where you already, the information is given to you through books or through videos where you watch and come. So how do you think that this new pedagogy would help students, this workshop mode that we have curated for the advanced corporate law course would help students? If you can give advice.
So here I would say that like one cannot learn swimming by reading a swimming, how to learn a swim book. Right. One has to really go into the water, move their hands and legs, and then only they can learn the swimming. But just reading and learning swimming in book will not make them a good swimmer. Similarly, same is thing with the cooking. Like you just can't become a good chef or good cook just reading the book.
Right.
So similar thing, like you can't become a good lawyer, you can't become a good professional just by reading the book. You really need to implement things, and especially since EBC Learning is providing the platform to them. And it's always good to implement it when it's fresh in your mind. Like since you have learned something theoretically and you're getting opportunity to implement immediately, it's something which enable them to have that learning for a longer period of time. You learn today, after 6 months you're joining a corporate world, and then you are trying to implement half of the things you will, any student will forget. But if they learn something and then apply immediately in that workshop, that really helps them to have a long-term learning for that thing, have a better understanding. So therefore, I would say the initiative which you are taking is really going to help them a lot, and really going to understand whatever they are learning theoretically, how it could be implemented in different ways. Because sometimes also happen is that like such kind of workshops give them a lot of free hand. Like they can implement or do things in whatever form and shape they want to do. In corporate world, what happens is that sometimes we restrict a particular candidate. Like, okay, you have to do things as per this SOPs only. You have learned this thing, but you have to do as per this SOP. So their ability to apply their creative mind to do things differently may not happen within the four walls of a corporate world. But such kind of workshops are something where they have a full freedom. They have full ability to show their creativity.
Do you think it's similar to sending these students to a deeper end, as Mr. Mehta sent you to present in your younger days?
Yeah,
it's the challenges.
Definitely, it's exactly the same thing. Like, so you are fresh, right, and you have been thrown into an oven, then you can bake yourself. So therefore, I think this is the best thing, and which I personally felt that event really enabled me to reach to this level. And such kind of workshops are of that nature, where they would be quite fresh with their knowledge, and you're putting them directly, I would say, in the ocean. And that one good part is that you are not leaving them idle, alone.
Right.
So there is an instructor helping him to hold them wherever it's required. So this is one important aspect, I think, of these workshops, right, which is really help them to, they know someone is there at their back, helping them, holding their hands, but simultaneously they have freedom to move as they want.
Right. So we are at the end of our conversation. So do you want to leave any parting advice to prospective students for the advanced corporate law course, or would you like to address any other question which we have ignored or missed to ask you?
Sure. I would say we have covered most of the things, but my advice to the students, especially to the advanced law corporate student, is that I think it's a great opportunity for you to learn things in a practical way, and such kind of platforms, practical experience will make a lot of difference to your professional career. And to end with, I would like to say a phrase which I've taken from the book, The Law of Success by Napoleon Hill, is that being a student and when you are going to start your professional career, always keep one agenda, is that you should work more than what you're paid for. So if you follow this agenda, basically agenda in your life, that whatever the amount you are getting as salary, as compensation, as fees, always try to deliver beyond it. And if you follow this principle professionally and your personal career, I'm sure you'll have exponential growth. And so with this, I'd like to thanks to ABC Learning, to you and to the entire team for giving us an opportunity. And I'd like to say all the best to the students who are going to come and become part of this unique and great platform. And with this, thank you and all the best.
Thank you, Amrish, for having this conversation with us. You were able to manage some of your time from the precious time. Thank you very much.
Great.
Thanks.